broken down personally. It could be by race, your ethnicity, your nationality, your religion. You could be a part of a community church, and you guys are all a part of the same faith-based community. Uh, People could live in the same neighborhood, city, county, municipalities. Sometimes that neighborhood piece can be broken down to building complexes, subdivisions, groups of people. So let's add groups. When I say groups, there's just going to be a more pleasant way of saying gangs. Okay. Universities. Go Dogs. I'm from Georgia. Um, some folks might not like that, but the dog community is coming for you. So we'll put that out there. Your community could also be sports that are local, like the local baseball team or city league, or you could be a part of a travel team community, travel sports, semi-pro teams. My semi-pro team is the Savannah Bananas. They changed it from the Savannah Sand Gnats. All my pro teams, they wear red, so you can do the math there. I'm from Georgia. Your community could be in politics as well. The Republican Party has its community. The Democratic Party has its community as well. We are all a part of the same community. In retrospect, we are all citizens here in the United States, if that is afforded to you. Your community could also be your job. And so if we broke down jobs, it could be teachers, it could be bakers, police, nurses, sales representatives, communication specialists. It could be a superintendent of a school district, like the board that I'm running for. You could be a politician as a job, and that is a community in and of itself. But what I want everyone to look at is the fact that community has so many different categories. And I know when you're looking at that list, well, I'm a part of all of those. If you think of yourself as an individual, each and every single one of these could be a piece of my own community. And so, of course, yes, I belong to a particular race. And for fun politics sakes, we'll just say race. But you see the melanin in my hand, so you know where I belong. My ethnicity, of course, African American. My nationality, I'm a U.S. citizen. And my religion, I follow the Christian faith. Okay. Now, my neighborhood, I won't add that to you, but my neighborhood is much larger than my home. So this is a group of homes, and that is where I live. So far, just going down this list of community, I belong to all of these different communities. And so just to go a little bit further, so we'll go to city. Well, this is Colorado Springs. You know that because I just told you my name. I told you what office I'm running for, and you can look up what city all of that information falls up under. So we're in good old Colorado Springs. And I could add state, which means Colorado, and the county is El Paso, and municipalities are broken up by county line as well. Now, building complex, that's more so for folks who live in apartments, but it could also be a set of properties. So when you think of people like corporations like Apple and Google, they have very large campuses. They might have a building complex where maybe all the graphic designers work in this particular building, work in A building, or all the finance specialists work in building B. We can break that down to subdivisions and neighborhoods go hand in hand. So we can say, yeah, I'm in a subdivision. Schools. As of right now, I'm working on my doctorate of education. And so my school and university go hand in hand. So they both do apply to me. But my university is NAU. And so that is my community for my university. But we just heard, I just told you I'm a Dogs fan, so UGA is the university where my sports fall under. If we were to break this piece of groups as being gangs down, I'm sure you could all name several gangs in America that could fit that criteria, and they could be based off of color lines, cities, and we'll just leave that at that. We don't need to give too much light to that. Sports teams, local. Colorado Springs does not have a local sports. Oh yes we do. We have the Switchbacks. Sorry, I have to apologize to Mr. President of the Switchbacks. They just did a beautiful job working on a gift for one of my elementary schools here in my district. So I have to give him a shout out pretty soon. City, we got the Switchbacks, local soccer team. We also have the Vibes, which is a baseball team. And then travel could be more so for student age citizens. I have none. Semi-pro. I don't have too many semi-pro teams. Pro team. I did say I was from Georgia or Falcons. I got to give me something this year, please. Politics. I'm a part of all of these communities. When we get down to politics, yes, we tend to lean a certain way. I'm actually, so folks know, I have studied the great strengths of each party. I've also studied the great weaknesses of each party. And I think I find a good balance in myself when I sit this way. In fact, if you did look at the spectrum, most people actually see themselves closer to being here than on the far ends of the political spectrums. For most folks, their circle kind of looks like this. And what you find is most people kind of fall somewhere in here. You see how that Venn diagram-ish looking photo finds a lot of people just like this. So you're actually a lot closer to the middle, and that's going to make a lot of sense. So I'm going to move over here. And we're going to have a look at businesses. I want you to know that your country is a business. It is most definitely a business. Make sure that's on this slide. The country is a business. And they are trying to balance the interests of the country at large, as well as the interests of the people who are within the country as well. So a lot of those dollars, they go to mom and pops if you apply for them. They go to nonprofits if you apply for them. Corporate giants, even small corps, and private sector. Usually always government dollars, not usually privately funded. But if you apply for a lot of those monies, your country will take those monies and give them to these people, more so than these people, 100% of the time. And that is almost 100% of the time. I'll be a little nicer and say maybe 95% of the time, it's going to one of these right here. Looking at this community piece and knowing that you belong to all of these, everyone's jobs fall under all of this. And so if you represent a job and it falls into one of these categories, then that means we are all a part of the same community, because these dollars help to feed you and take care of your family, falling under all of these categories. This is our one community. This is where we come together. We're talking about schools. that regardless of the university that I go to, where I am, my school has a very large community. And the people who are a part of my community fall somewhere under all of these jobs, these occupations, these categories. When I was in the military, one of my most fondest memories of being in the military was when we had some downtime after training. And this downtime allowed you to really get to know the soldier to the left and the right of you. And what we would find was that even though we came from all of these different places, all these different activities, our goal was usually the same. The goal was to complete the mission and get back home. Because at home, we had family. And even if you didn't have a family to get back home to, you'd still rather be at home and where you work. All of these different backgrounds, all of these different communities that soldiers come from. In the military, we only had one goal: mission, get back home, and it was usually to our family. Now, I had friends that were married, unmarried, single, single and dating, single and stupid. Like that, just to add a little humor. But it was some married and stupid and some unmarried and stupid too. We'll just say divorce there. There's a commonality in the military because I want to complete the mission just as bad as the guy next to me. I want to get back home just as bad as the guy next to me. Usually to a family which all of us have in some way, shape, or form. Your family could be one. What I'm trying to get people to understand is that we've become so out of touch with one another that we're constantly looking down at our phones, and we don't realize that the community that we have is slowly dwindling away. And our resources are a lot more mighty than we think. What I want people to understand is just because you come from a certain neighborhood or a certain city, or you have a certain race or ethnicity, you have common grounds with people who, in many circumstances, they really don't have a choice because they signed up for that job, and that is the military. You need to complete the mission until your time is done. Why don't we have that same mindset about community? Why don't we look to improving the education system for the betterment of all children, so that we can build a stronger community? At the end of the day, family, whether it's just your spouse or you have children as well, I want you to be able to provide for your children as well, because that's what I want for my daughter. I want for your child to grow up and have the same happiness and memories that I have. Even if I had a few stumbles along the way, that shouldn't define the way that we end. Just because you come from a certain zip code does not mean that is your destiny to end up how whatever may fall in your zip code. We have to start bringing community back. provides a level of equity that no government can take away. Usually when the government gives, it hinders. They say I'm from the government, I'm here to help, you probably need to run. That's a saying that most people say. Government giving hinders. We stop relying on one another. I'll use my community as one. We all know that some of the epidemics of the 80s crushed Black families. We also know that because of political constraints, whether they be from the higher government or low levels of government, that some opportunities have not been in the best interests of our community. But for some reason, we always seem to catch up, compete, and still contribute to the success of any industry that we end up touching. And the government's done nothing to help us on that. In fact, the government has hindered our progress, because all you see now when you log onto social media is the battle of the sexes, and it's the worst thing ever. Why don't men do this? Why don't women do that? It's all just noise. To be honest with you, it's noise. But it's because our focus isn't on community anymore. It's on money. It's on the dollar. As soon as we start pouring our dollars back into the schools, community will improve all on its own. If I own a business and my business is doing very well, why not use my business to impact my community? If I own a flower shop and something happens in my school district where my child goes, and I hear of a death or a need for flowers, let's talk about positivity. How about that? We talk about giving people their flowers while they're still here, not home. Why not give my services to that cause? Oh, they're doing an amazing job. Well, you know what? I'll donate flowers or time, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a donation. It doesn't have to be free. It could be a discount. And there are ways to, we'll talk about some finances in the future, but there are ways that your donation is always tax deductible. There are things that you can give. Giving of your time is tax deductible. You document those things and say, hey, I showed up at this place. That's tax deductible. That's all finance within a community. See, when your community is giving into you and they're pouring into you, you don't really need anything else except the people that are beside you. But what politics has become, politics has said that they, them, those over there, they do things different, them. I'm a man of faith. I've read the scriptures on the theys and them. I know, but they're still a part of your community. And when it comes to faith is communal, yes, but it's also about the individual. And being a person of faith and loving my community, I love all parts of my community for what they can contribute to the community. I need their insight, I need their love, I need their help in times of need. I need all those things. And for too long, we've been dealing with this level of government that's just not doing its part. So we've got to get back to bringing people who represent the people and don't represent the bank accounts of corporations. We've got to get back to people who love on their community, and it shows through their efforts day in and day out. Malcolm and Martin both died with less than $5,000. They were not rich men, but had great impacts. We need more people who have impacts in their communities, rather than hefty pockets. That's all I got, Bruce. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys, man. We appreciate our viewers and our listeners for here today. And you will be getting more from Mr. Corey Williams, our president here at District 2, and that's Block Movements.